Hey guys, how you doing? Just want to give you a prophetic update and try to keep this kind of generic so it won't be taken off. But I put some stuff on Rumble. You may want to check it out. It's more what I can feel like I can say. Certain things you can't say, but anyways, you guys probably heard the stuff from his name is Chris Reed. He was on he gave his prophetic dream. He's now heading up on Morning Star and stuff. Anyways, the dream that he was talking about of the man in the black, and he kind of later explained it. You know, the man in black came to him and gave him that $50 bill or something like that, and then he's cut off the part of the $50 bills and little pieces and stuff. Then he explained it. Well, you got to hear that prophecy if you haven't heard it. So, but anyways, they were saying that the whole thing regarding that is obviously it talks about the collapse and stuff like that. So, you know, this is from a prophetic part, and what I hear is that he actually got Cindy Jacobs and I think Chuck Pierce, something like that. They both, you know, think that his dream is right on, prophetic, and all that stuff. So it's nothing off or anything like that. But obviously, some of the stuff what he's saying is kind of like already happening. My opinion, as you know already. Monday it's no prophetic, but it's reality of what's going on, that Germany has increased their their cost to 20 to 50%. And I've noticed it on Sunday night going to the grocery store that already the price is doubled. And so according to another source, they're saying that this could come to the U.S. within 2 to 3 weeks, and we're already like almost toward the 1 week past now. So, and a lot of people are talking that the petrodollar might collapse or whatever, and so a lot of people are buying metals and stuff. If you haven't done that yet, anyways, on the dream, the part where I was getting on the part where you're saying tearing of the $50. Well, obviously the man in black, he was saying it's like Johnny Cash, because he's known as the man in black. And the whole thing about why Johnny Cash wears black, he said in one interview, is that he says the reason why he wears it because he's in mourning for America, a mourning for America to turn back, and because of all the stuff. So you gotta check into more of that stuff. But anyways, the $50 represents obviously the 50 states. And then the ripping of the 50, my opinion is some of the states turning away from the system and doing their own thing. Basically, you have the tearing of the wheat, right? The separation. The Bible talks about the straight and the narrow gate. Narrow is to, and then the broad is the way of destruction. So there's a lot of separation obviously happening in the world, and among friends and people that families and so forth, and even in the church. There's separation happening, and I don't have to go into that, but you people probably know. A lot of stuff happening. As we know about the collapse, obviously that's no brainer. That seems like it's going to happen. Already the World Economic Forum, they're talking. There's been videos on it that talk about the New World Order and the new currency and all this stuff. And then Mr. B talked about the new currency being digital, and then what the vision of what Chris Reeve, I believe, talks about toward the end part, was the dollar bill, and then on the phone. He saw it on the phone. And to me, that obviously reminds me, or it spoke to me and said that it's definitely the crypto, new digital thing, because the phone is digital, right? In certain states like China, they're already. I was talking to one person. They said that they do a lot of their. Actually, that was about maybe several years ago, that they don't even carry driver's license or money, cash. That everything's done through the phone, through digital currency. You know what I mean? And the whole credit thing, social credit scores. And it kind of reminds me of the Star Trek thing, as I mentioned before. If you ever watch Star Trek, especially the old ones with Captain Kirk, William Shatner, when he talked about it. I think it was the fourth Star Trek one where it says Voyage Home or something like that, about those whales. Remember, he went to San Francisco. He was back in, I don't know, in modern time. No, old time for him. And he was trying to get some stuff, and he says that, we don't carry cash. Remember that one scene? He was talking to that person about the whales and stuff. And he says, we do it by credits. Kind of like almost like what's kind of happening now in some places, except for here. What was I going to say? Okay, so going back in track. So that's what it reminds me of regarding that. And, it's this whole one world thing is reality. It's not a conspiracy stuff anymore. So that's happening. Okay, signs of what's happening. I know there were some activities happening at the White House, and Mr. O was there, and it talked about Medicare or whatever was going on, but he was there, and I don't know. And then the night before, I think it was Nancy Drew said she saw, walking at the White House, she saw the like a Patriot truck that was parked inside, or like inside of the gate near the White House and stuff. So that was kind of interesting, right? And so she gave her opinion on that, the Marines and all this stuff. I don't know, man. All I can say is that we can hope for the best and do all this stuff, but it just seems like the whole thing with Revelation is kind of happening, with the what is that, the second rider, with the red rider horse, is kind of happening, if you know what I'm talking about. I don't know exactly how Revelation fits in order, but as I mentioned before, that I felt the rapture would happen. My hunch is probably the rapture on the Feast of Trumpets, possibly this year. Excuse me. So the rapture would happen, and then everything else would happen from after that. The man of what do you call that? Position. The man of position, the Antichrist, whatever, would appear, make his appearance and stuff, and then he's gonna be a man of peace. Everybody's gonna like him, follow him, because, and where it seems like where it's pointing to, and I don't want to say that because it caused a lot of stuff. But all I can say is that, and I'm not saying, he is or whatever, because we don't know, really. All I can say is that from all the stuff, even though it's already planned on the Bible, it says it's going to happen, right? The book of Revelation, all these things, the seals and the four horses, horsemen and stuff. It's going to happen. But God could stop this whole thing, right? He can stop it because he's God. He can postpone it from this to happen. I mean, it's going to happen, but God can delay it and give us more time. That's what I look at it. And how does he do that? Well, he did it with Hezekiah. You remember Hezekiah? It was his time, and there was a prophet that went up to him. He was supposed to give that message to Hezekiah and say it was his time to get his house in order, that the Lord's going to take him. And so he cried out to the Lord, repented, and asked God to give him more time. And then God talked to the prophet, and he said, I want you to give him a message and tell him I'm going to give him some more years. I think it was 14 years or something. I'm not sure. But so then he gave back and gave him more time. But the whole thing is that he gave him more time, so he delayed it, but it still happened. So what I'm saying is this whole thing happening, God can delay, he can stop it. But right now, as it looks like, everything is still going forth of that. But we really don't know what's really happening behind the scene. We'll see. But what do we do in the meantime? Meantime is that we need to just be prepared. And how do we get prepared? By having some extra food, maybe some canned goods, dry food, and all that stuff. What I said in the earlier videos, if you can. I guess I put it on Romo, so check that out. The being prepared, and then having water just in case something happens, and maybe having a solar generator, because gas is so expensive right now. It makes more sense to have a solar generator, right? The main thing you want to supply, at least in my case, I want to keep the fridge going. That's the more important. I really don't care about the laptops and computer and all this stuff, phone and stuff. More important to me is the perishables and stuff, and then having water, water. That's the most important part, right? Keeping your cars in gas tank. Don't wait till your gas is all the way down empty, then fill up the tank. It makes more sense to fill it up when it's quarter way or even less, especially the pricing right now. It makes more sense. Making sure your vehicle is always filled up all the time. And try not to travel, not to fly. I talked to some people, and they have no clue what's going on. And you know what? I think now it doesn't really matter and try to convince people, because they're not going to listen anyway. I think it's more important for you and your family to be, if you're awake, to be prepared for yourself, and don't worry about these other people, because most likely it's not going to happen anyway. They're not going to listen. Just like Noah's flood. They saw him building that ark, and they laughed at him and all that stuff. And then came the storms, and then when the storms came, right, then they started knocking on the door, but it was too late. And the Bible talks about that, right? Is that when we're gone, man. The good thing is that if we're gone, when the church is gone, he's going to send the two witnesses for backup. I think of it as like a backup plan. He's going to send his two witnesses to represent and say, hey, this is the last time, follow him and all this stuff. But, they're going to have to go through the whole thing of the judgment, So when we're gone, God's going to send the two witnesses. I mentioned that before, Moses and Elisha. Interesting. So I don't want to keep this too long, because I know I can say a lot of stuff. But anyways, I think that's important. Prepare for yourself, and don't waste your time trying to convince these people, because they're not going to listen anyway. Oh yes, the separation of the tearing of $50 represents to me is like the different states that are actually that are awake, and they know what's going on. So they're preparing. And the last part of it, what was kind of cool, is that they got back to growing their own foods, preparing. So these are the people who are prepared. And so you may want to do that. I think God's warning us, letting us know. He's telling us, man, God's speaking, and he's telling us either through a prophetic way, because some people just listen to prophetic people, and they won't listen to, they just listen to the mainstream and get their information. So God's trying to tell people either way what's going on. And I'm glad to see people that are awake, and prophets that are awake, And God bless you guys. Be prepared, and may the Lord bless you. I feel this is definitely a time to pray and seek the Lord for yourself and your family. So God bless you guys, and may the revelation of Jesus show you what's going on, and for me too. Amen. God bless you guys. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to tune in on Thursday night, which we'll have a little soaking time, prayer time, and for the Lord. And may the Lord deliver us. Amen. God bless.